Okay, so we're back. This is a different clip here, obviously. Ted and I are going to show you some of the exercises we do in order to prepare for snowboarding. They may not make sense to you, but it doesn't make any difference. We're just showing you some activities that we do, and so here we go.
Okay, this is a roller. You want to be careful with this. When you set up, you're here in your hips. Okay, so you're able to sit and be flat here. So you're not...
Do that again.
You're here in your hips. So you can...
Notice that Ted's butt almost touches his ankles.
Yeah,
when I take this same position, I will not bend as far as Ted.
Can't do it.
So again, we're talking about what the body does, but each person's body is different.
I can do it on the left leg, I can't
Right.
do it on the right.
But I noticed there was a good compression there all the way back, which I couldn't do.
And
but
the reason to do that is you want to avoid the arch in your back.
Right.
You don't want to get into that and put all the pressure right there.
Okay.
Do the rollout.
So Ted's going to do the rollout, and then I'm going to have him stop after that.
This is from my knees.
From his knees.
Exhale. Take a breath in. Exhale on the way back up. And come up to full.
Come up all the way. Now that up position that he just came in,
take a full gut.
You need to be able to do that to get up off your snowboard when you're looking up the hill, which is towards me. And you're going to push up and straighten those hips and legs up to stand up and rise. The only difference is Ted's toes are pointed back. When it's on the snowboard, your toes won't be pointed back.
No,
they'll be a little bit more under you as they are now, which will allow the heels to come back.
And this is where...
Notice that the heels rolled back and Ted rose. That's the exact movement you've got to be able to do to get off the snow on your snowboard while looking uphill where you just fell, which is on the safe side.
And when you fall, you don't fall that way.
You're going to fall
first and then
slide out uphill.
Dive out.
Okay. Take what Ted did, and Ted used a piece of equipment. I'm not going to use a piece of equipment. I am my piece of equipment. So one of the things that I have to work on is moving down, 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 till I can get into this basic area here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that is a movement of whatever. Now, I didn't stay totally stacked over the feet because I know I'm going to fall forward. I want to fall forward. So I'm moving in here, I bend over here, I put the hands down, and I slowly
walk
the hands out. I don't get them all the way out, but a little bit past my shoulders. Then I walk them back into that position you saw Ted rise from. In here, I can kind of rest for a moment there.
And then push the hips out.
And push up with my hips.
Yep.
Okay. So I showed you that with no equipment, just to show you there's variation of everything we do. Okay. So Ted was sitting down here and he said straight back. Straight back for me is leaning back a little bit. My lower spine has arthritis, so getting in this position, I'm already stretching through the quadriceps and the back of the legs and the thighs.
And you're going to flex those quads as well.
Yeah, and so he's saying push down with the palms of your hand. It draws me in. I don't have the same range as Ted, and out.
And you can push down on those handles as you move out. So
for me,
you feel it?
That would be a tough one. Push my eyes in case it comes off.
Yeah, this is not only, this is another core exercise, but it's a different one. And boy, it's a lot of stress. And this is I would say, a safer exercise than doing crunches or doing sit-ups, because your back is being supported, and you're moving the pieces that need to learn to move.
Because my lower back is always sore, I've always had a difficulty without a kick.
Yeah, right.
To set up. So I use this to pull a little bit too.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I get to the point where I go.
Yeah.
And I join it without them. So I use the bands to get me into motion, warming up. Then I let go of the bands, and I get this involved.
And if you're a snowboarder, that will get you up facing downhill.
Correct. And notice that my wrists are bent to the rear, which is what you would do.
Yeah.
But you don't want to. You want to hang on to them and roll back. And then to get up, you got to get to the front. To get back up, you also have to roll over, as I'm going to do now. Pretending there's a board on my feet, I'd have to raise my left foot and the board over, let it fall.
Yes.
To that side that we introduced you to, and walk my hands back. Oops.
You're standing on that one.
And stand up.
Okay, cool.
Which will be easier for you guys because you'll be on a hill like this.
Yeah.
So that lift is closer to the feet than I was. We're currently looking at Ted's feet, and they're currently flat on the ground down there. So in snowboarding, we have a thing called Dorsal Flex, which Ted is showing you there. He's pulling the toes up while the heels stay down. And that would be using the heel side of your board, or if Ted was riding forward, he'd turn his head left. He'd turn his head left, he'd be riding, and he lifted his toes, that would be a left turn. So that's a dorsal flex. So Ted comes back to neutral, and now he's going to do a plantar flex, which means that he's going
a little harder for me.
A little harder there, but he's going to get his body moving closer to the center of the board, and he's going to come up on that side of on the side of his toes. Okay. So basically, so if you set back and stick your feet out, or one of them, and now hold it in the air and do a dorsal and a plantar flex in the air.
Oh, okay. So here's the dorsiflex, and the plantar flex is easier to see.
Sure, because we walk on our toes. When we walk, we step on the heel and put our toes down and push forward. So.
But when I do this on the board, I want to keep. I like to keep this here, and the flexing happens because I push the knee over rather than do anything from the ankle.
Right. So I'm going to have Ted come over here. I'm going to face this. Because one of my weaknesses in snowboarding has been that I move across the board here, this way. But you notice, even though I've moved towards my toes and the ball of my feet, I don't have my heels up. I'm still flat-footed.
Right.
Because I'm dropping my mass to the center of the board down there, but I haven't really crossed it enough. When I cross it more, there's the plantar flex and there's the dorsal flex. So my board angles have not been very high. So to improve my board angles, I am trying to learn to squat lower and then come over here.
And lean over those knees.
Lean over a little bit. And notice that I've also engaged my toes being down and my heels being
right. Up. Yeah.
So this is a strength building move here. And I have to learn to be able to maintain this while riding. Even if I was further up, I still have to maintain this. If I don't, I get this. So I have to get a little stronger on the toe pressing. So that's one of my goals for the upcoming season, is to be stronger with the ankles, which is a quick move, but maintaining them with the knees and the lean.
Right.
So that is a shortfall in my own riding that I, after 30 years, am still playing with and discovering. I can ride. I just don't get high enough angles.
You don't.
I haven't worked on that. Okay.
You want
both of us. I'm going to assume that because it's a camera.
Selfie.
And I'm over here and Ted's over there. So our purpose today was to show you not how to do things, but why we do things is because we're working on our personal body.
Yeah.
And I know what my weaknesses are. Ted knows what his are. And hopefully we've shown you that you don't have to go out and buy a book of exercises. What you need to do is figure out what your body has strength on doing, what it doesn't have strength on doing, but all of it has to do with range of motion. And the more movements you can make, the happier you're going to be that when you finally decide to go, or if you have been going and you haven't done anything, and even if you only go 4 days, you don't want to go out there and exhaust yourself on day one and find on day 2 you don't want to get out of bed. So think about what you're going to do, come up with your own plan, and it would be great if some of you guys would come back to us on some comments on these telling us what your plan is. And we like to hear what other people do. We're not the masterminds of anything. We're just two old guys who are trying to stay alive. So hopefully you'll stride ahead, stay with us.
Stay ahead. 120 days.